I'm good. I have the agenda in front of me now.
Okay. And now I'm recording, so now we're good to go.
Okay, so Ms. Dixon, if you'll please call the roll.
Mr. Rilling, Mayor
Here.
Rilling, Mr. Abrams, Mr. Constant,
Here.
Mr. Gilleret,
Here.
Mr. Casimis.
You.
Okay. Miss Yang.
Here.
I'm here. Sorry.
Okay. 5, we have a quorum.
Okay, so I guess the next thing for me to do is probably call the meeting to order for the August 7th, 2023 meeting of the Board of Estimate and Taxation. Next item on the agenda is the approval of the minutes of July 10th, 2023 special meeting. Do I have a motion?
I'll make a motion. So moved.
Mr. Casimis moves. Are there any corrections, deletions, or omissions?
This Troy, there's just one. If you look at page 1, it should be Ed Abrams, not Al Abrams, I believe. Attendance.
I think you're correct.
Looks like
And-
AI Abrams.
The package that I received, minutes were complete, because when I go to page 7, I don't, I think that there was additional discussion and there would have obviously been a motion to adjourn the meeting. So I
Okay,
think it-
specifically,
I mean, I know that I had made some comments relative to Oak Hills.
all right, would you, if you could recall those, would you submit them perhaps if you're not exactly sure right now exactly what you were mentioning?
Yes, no, that's fine. Maybe
Okay.
Tom,
Okay,
Because I
any
sus-
other corrections or deletions or omissions?
Sorry, Ann, you broke
Yeah.
up there for a second. What was your closing comment?
if you could just check on the, it just doesn't seem like we have the whole package in there.
You want me to share?
No, that's okay.
Okay,
We'll cover it another time.
okay.
Okay, seeing no other corrections, omissions, or deletions, all in favor of approving the minutes as corrected? Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Abstentions? Motion carries. Thank you. Next item on the agenda, special appropriations. There are none. We move to the transfer agenda, page 7. Mr. Ellis?
Yeah, so the first one is effective for fiscal year 23. Probably the last one we'll see on that. We will be in all likelihood closing accounts payable for fiscal 23 sometime this week. So this last one here is for the fire department. And we have, I believe, Chief Gatto, and I see his picture there. So if you want to take it away, Chief.
Sure, thank you. Good evening, everyone. So this requesting $9,000 transfer from our medical dental account, which had 37,000 plus to go into other repairs and maintenance, because we received a last week of June invoice. And the young lady that handles all the bills and everything thought it was a July bill, but it was not. It was a June bill. So we need this extra money to pay for that invoice. Basically, it was one of our mechanics F2500 pickup trucks had metal shavings in the fuel tank, and they had to I don't know, put in another fuel pump, etc. It was a pretty big job. So that's why we need the money for that, to pay that bill from last year.
If I can get a motion to move that forward?
Motion.
Mr. Constant moves. Any discussion, questions?
No, not for me.
All in favor of the transfer as requested?
Aye.
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 Any opposed? Any abstentions? Motion carries. Next, we have the Human Resources and Personnel. Ms. Fogel?
You're on mute, Tina.
Because I'm not. Can you hear me?
Now we can hear you, yes.
I'm sorry about that. So thanks so much for having me. We're here to request a transfer in the amount of $54,200 from contingency into our other professional services line item. This transfer is to enter into an agreement with Kavanaugh McDonald, who is our current actuary for pension-related functions. The breakdown is $35,000 to set up and implement a calculation model, $8,000 to set up and implement yearly pension statements, which many of our current employees have been asking for. And then we've estimated approximately $11,200 for FY24 pension calculations. This is based on the 32 pension calculations we did in FY23, and it's at a cost of $350 per calculation. So we believe this will allow the Human Resource Office and the Benefits Office to better service our current employees as well as our retirees. It will also provide those employees who are thinking about getting ready for retirement with the information that they need in a much more timely manner and allow them for some maybe much more long-term planning. It will also allow us to work with Tom's office to be able to do some greater projections on retirements and things like that.
Okay, can I have a motion to move that forward?
So moved.
Ms. Yang moves. Any questions, comments, discussion?
Just a question, did you, I see that Kavanaugh, the actuary, so it makes sense for them to do the administration, but is there any opportunity to get a second bid on the administration part? Or is that really not practical?
So I think that that is ultimately our plan. We had a longtime benefits manager had retired at the time, so we had received permission from Common Council to be able to move forward, based on kind of our relationship, but we will, after this 1-year contract, go out to bid.
Okay. Because I know it's a fairly competitive market from an administrative standpoint, and so you might be able to do better pricing.
Further questions or comments, discussion? Seeing none, all in favor of the motion? Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstentions? Motion carries unanimously. Thank you. Moving forward, we have the other business, section C, page 10. Mr. Ellis or Mr. Dekowitz?
Yeah, it's a special capital appropriation for just under $11,000 for Chief Gatto. I know it's been somewhat of a consistent theme over the last several months for supply chain issues and inflation related charges on some of their capital equipment. So this will be step one in the process, needs to work its way, assuming approval here, planning and zoning, finance and claims, and ultimately the Common Council. But
Thank you, Ms.
Chief Gatto
Ms.
still with
Dixon.
us here to discuss.
Ms. Dixon, would you read the resolution?
Resolution requesting a special capital appropriation from the Norwalk Fire Department in the amount of $10,727 to cover the increased costs for the purchase and upfitting of 2 Ford Ranger vehicles.
Can I have a motion to move that forward for discussion?
Motion.
Mr. Kasimis moves it. Any questions, comments, discussion? Chief, would you like to just add something to that?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Just that when we developed the budget back in 2022, we put in for $75,000 to cover for 2 Ford Rangers, which is the way we're going now to replace the Ford Escapes. for the fire inspectors. And at the time, 75,000 seemed to be enough. But unfortunately, new price increases with Ford. Each vehicle is now $41,313. And then we need another 1,600 to put bed covers on and 1,500 to put emergency lighting. And that's the added increase of 10,727 to outfit those two vehicles.
Thank you, Chief. Do we have any questions?
Just one question. It looks like you're making it perhaps just administrative, that it has to be a request, but it looks like it's a bit of a transfer in that you're reducing your capital budget from the mobile radio. So it's actually not necessarily new money going to the department. Is that correct?
Yes, that's correct. It's coming out of the mobile radio upgrade account and going into the new vehicle account.
Great.
Where we have the flexibility to do that, Ann, we encourage the exploration of that first before asking for any new money. So knock on wood, so far we've been able to do that with the special capital appropriations thus far.
Thank you. Any further questions or discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Abstentions? Motion carries. Thank you. Next, under additional information, I know we have Ms. Biagirelli here for the tax collector's narrative and report. If anybody has any questions based on the backup information that was provided in the packet, or Ms. Biagirelli, if you have any comments you'd like to make.
If I could just jump in for one brief moment, Mr. Mayor. The wrong narrative went out with the agenda package. So Lisa is going to talk to the updated June 2023 narrative. And I will make sure that the correct version gets posted to the website tomorrow.
Okay.
Good evening. Can you hear me?
Yes, we can.
Okay, thank you. Good evening. And unfortunately, I'm looking at June numbers because we have not had a chance to officially close the month of July, even though it is August 7th. As most of you know, we did have an extended collection period. Our last day to pay was actually today. The end of July numbers, we should have completed probably by the end of this week. We have a Finance and Claims Committee meeting on Thursday evening. So I fully expect that they'll be done for that. And I'll have a narrative for them and I'll provide it to the mayor and to this board as well. Basically, I would be able to respond. In the meantime, I will include in that narrative some details about where we stand with the billing. The collection was very robust. I think it was a very good July. Most people, I believe, did pay on or before August 1st. There were some that did wait until the end. We'll see what the internet turns up, with the reports that we get tomorrow for the online payments for tonight. But I could try to answer some of your questions if you had any about our ongoing issues with the billing, and also the CFO is on the call as well.
Lisa, hi, this is Troy. Just quick question. I'm sure if you read the articles today in the paper the last couple of days. But my question is for people like myself who just paid my auto bills, I didn't really check it. I assumed it was correct. Are you going back to check all of those to make sure the values are correct, or are you just going back to correct the ones that people are calling on? I was just curious about that.
Henry, do you want to jump in here?
I think I will. Troy, you defined two buckets. I'll define three. But let's remember there were 75,000 vehicles that got built. I'm sorry, someone has feedback.
You're a little garbled, Henry.
Okay, I'm doing the best I can.
That's
There you go.
better.
That's better.
Okay, I'll try to keep doing whatever I just did. So there are three buckets. um, obviously, there are many people who have paid and the bills are accurate. But we did not just look at the bills which people complained about. The assessor went back to the valuations and with a cutoff said anything that had an increase of X% they were going to examine. And we feel we will do that examination and we will have two categories. There are going to be a number of individuals where the valuation was too high and the corrected valuation will be lower. If they have not paid yet, they'll get a corrected bill to pay. If they've already paid, they will either get a credit or a check reimbursement, depending upon the size that we're talking about. But there will be some individuals where after review, the bill is higher. And again, we'll have a case, if you've already paid, there'll be a corrected bill for the differential. If you haven't paid, there'll be a bill. Well, all of them will have corrected bill, here's what you owe, less what you've already paid, here's the net. So we're working through the valuations. The assessor sat down with the collector and our software companies to determine the format and the layout of the bills for this revision. So if you paid, honestly, you didn't notice anything, if we find that it should have been a lower bill, we will send you a credit or a check as appropriate.
Okay. Any further questions or discussion? Okay, thank you, Ms. Biazzarelli. I know we have Mr. Dutton here regarding Oak Hills. Do we have any questions, or Mr. Dutton, would you like to offer some information for us?
Just give you a quick overview, Mr. Mayor, if I may. We closed our books at the end of June on a pretty successful year. I'll just talk briefly about revenue, expenses, operating income, looking at the actual, what we did, what we budgeted, what we did last year. On the revenue side, we did about 2 million, almost 2 million in revenue, a budget of 2 million won. Last year we did the same, 2 million won. So we're basically about 265,000 ahead of last year and ahead of budget in the revenue at Oak Hills. Our expenses were about 1,674,000, which was about almost like the same as they were last year. And our budget was higher than that. The budget was 1,768,000. So we were basically $96,000 under budget in our expenses, and the same as last year. So you put those numbers together, the operational income for Oak Hills was for the year, for the fiscal year was about $700,000 in operational income. The budget was about $300,000, and last year we ended up doing $515,000. So we were almost $360,000 ahead of budget, 185 ahead of last year. So that's our operational income. Of course, against that, we did get things that have been taken out. We spent about $133,000 on our capital projects in this last fiscal year, compared to a budget of 170. The year before, when we did the car pass, we actually spent 295,000 because we had that great year the year before during COVID when we just made a lot of money. We obviously paid the city, we paid them $119,000 in this last fiscal year, compared to about 110, I think, the year before. Obviously more rounds, more money to the city. And our commercial debt was very similar, $155,000 we spent on the carts and also on some equipment that Jim Shell had bought, which was very similar to what we had spent the year before. So overall, it was a pretty successful year for us. I'm not sure we'll do as well next year. We budgeted to do less than this. It was such a good year. And we do have a general manager in place now, which we didn't have last year. So that will be an added expense, which we budgeted for. So that's a synopsis of the fiscal year 2023.
Thank you, Mr. Dutton. Do we have any questions or comments?
Just one comment, Alan, it's Troy. the numbers look great, and the course, by the way, is great, in great shape. And
Thank
Jim,
you.
the new general manager, has really been visible, and I see some actions already. That's great for the course. The other question as a follow-up from last month was, did you work with Henry on the cash? I don't know if you're still
Yes,
sitting.
it's funny. It's funny you should say that, Mr. Gilleret. First of all, I'd like to announce that we have Denise Brown, a member of the authority, is now the new treasurer of the authority, and Joe Andrasco is continuing, I believe, as chairman. I'm the vice chair, and Denise is the treasurer for the exec committee. The treasurer and Gary Leeds, who was an ex-CFO of a major corporation in this area, met with Karen Vitale last month. One thing is, we cannot invest any of our stuff with the city of Norwalk because we can't commingle the funds, because I'm told that we are independent. So we cannot actually do that, which is what Karen told us. But we are putting together a historical cash balance report, and Mark will be working on monthly projections. This will help us decide the amount of money for short-term and long-term investments, and what will be needed to get us through November through March. So we're just doing a cash flow right now to see when we need the money, when we don't need the money. Obviously, we have some money now, which we can put in. It's got to be FDIC, and I should have a firm proposal at our next meeting. But we did meet with the city and continue to work on this. Sure.
Thank you.
Further discussion or questions?
Yeah, I had a quick question. I was just curious, what has been like the key indicator for success this year? What's caused that success between?
The golf is the main driver, and we have done about 250,000. We did about 5,000 more rounds than we did the year before. So that's the main driver. About $200,000 of that revenue is just more business. We put in this Golf Now software system, and people like it. And a lot of people, about 30% of our business comes from residents, but 70% is from people from outside who pay more money. And the course is in really good shape, I think. And the weather was really good. I have to say, the weather was good. And on the expense side, we had budget for a general manager. We didn't have a general manager, so we were able to save some money there. Those are the main drivers behind it.
Did the outings, Alan? I know you've done a lot more outings this year.
Outings are good.
Does that add to your revenue numbers just significantly?
They do, but not significantly. I mean, the total revenue for outings is about $90,000, I think, compared to 2.3 overall. But it depends on the types of outings. Obviously, the outings that are on the charitable side, the not-for-profits. We have added a couple. We had an outing pretty much every Monday apart from August. So yes, definitely helped us more this year. I mean, O'Neill's had 128 people this last Monday, I think, their second one. So it did help us, yes.
It's good public relations too, because the course is in great shape.
Yep.
Questions or comments? Seeing none, thank you, Mr. Dutton. Does anybody have any other questions regarding any of the other items, whether capital budget, operating budget?
No, but I would like to add. I would like to add a comment to thank Henry and his team and you, Mr. Mayor, for the AAA rating. I was very happy to see that on Friday. Listen, we asked the tough questions during the budget season, and hopefully the results is what we saw on Friday again. So I was very happy and congratulate your team.
Thank you. I think the department heads, the department chiefs, everybody working together, being fiscally responsible, making sure that we live within the budget, and the results are shown. It shows the results. So it's a very encouraging 23 years in a row that we've had the AAA bond rating. I certainly want to keep that trend going.
Troy, thank you. I would just say we're pricing our bonds tomorrow. So the triple A ratings are a nice intermediate goal. And we're just hoping that the markets stay calm as they did today and we can close the deal but thank you for your kind comments.
Just curious, Henry, what's the savings between a AAA and a notch down in basis points? I now know it's not.
It changes over time, and I would say I really haven't looked at it recently, but it can go anywhere from a quarter of a point to wider to half a point. And so a lot depends on circumstances. When rates are lower, the differences on credit are smaller, narrower. As rates go higher, the differences in credit quality, and it's also the tone of the market. We're now entering a time, we've had years and years of very low rate, and anything could get sold, anything could get borrowed, even with a lower credit rating. I think as the Fed indicates it's going to have rates remain high for quite a while, the differences in credit quality may become more significant, especially what I've read about earnings season, where people are coming out with disappointing earnings. We had a couple of banks go bankrupt. You have a lot of closures operationally. There are companies and sectors that are very sensitive to increasing interest rates. So I think as the mayor indicated, we've done this for 23 years. You can't change it overnight. It takes a lot of work. But I think we paved the road well, such that we're very well positioned for the coming 3 to 5 years, which may be a little bit rockier. Maybe Ann could add, she knows the capital markets probably better than anyone.
No. Henry, what are the underwriters expecting in terms of a range of pricing, and what's the amount that you're looking to place?
I'd rather not say, because a lot depends on the market. This last week, I've looked at comparables from 2 weeks ago, and the rates are 0.25% higher. Last week, Monday through Thursday, rates jumped up. It wasn't the US downgrade, it was more of the employment numbers and the other things. Friday, it bounced back a little. And today was relatively calm. So we're just hoping calm for tomorrow, circle the buyers who've expressed interest, and get out of town before things change.
It's rule number one. You can.
Okay, any other questions regarding the capital budget or operating budget? As you know, you have the backup material there. And I think after the end of the last fiscal year, once all things are reconciled, I think we're going to come out favorably. And I appreciate that again from all the department heads being very responsible. We put the task out to them this year and said, as you know, the BET, we really took out a very, very sharp knife and really cut some of the things down. And I think the department heads were still able to live within those budgets, and I give them a lot of credit. If there's nothing else,
I
will.
got something, Mr. Mayor.
Oh, Mr. Ellis?
Yes, just an administrative note. I've been asked to get views on having a special capital appropriation meeting for 2 Mondays from now, the 21st. It'll be the only item on the agenda, but step one is presenting to the BET and getting their approval on the capital side. And again, it won't be new money, but it will be significantly more than the 10,000 that we just did for the fire department. So Mr. Abrams has already said that he will be able to attend. I just wanted to make sure that we will at least have a quorum before going ahead and scheduling this.
Yes, if you could send out a notice and everybody can respond to make sure that we do have a quorum. And I imagine that's a time sensitive issue.
Yes, we want to get that one done as quickly as possible. It involves a potential land acquisition, so time is of the essence.
Very good.
Or,
Yeah,
and
I
I
think
saw your
this-
hand, and I saw your hand go up, so we have 2 so far.
Yeah, that's fine with me.
Okay,
Yes, and when you mentioned the topic, I know this is a very important meeting. So if anybody has a problem, let us know right away. We do need to make sure we have a quorum.
Yeah, and I don't expect it, it's the only item on that will be on this agenda, so I don't expect it to be multiple hours. It should be relatively straightforward.
Okay, if there's no further items, then I'll entertain a motion to adjourn.
I'll make the motion.
I think Ms. Yang was a little bit ahead of you, Mr. Kasimis.
Fine.
So we are, can I have a vote? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Abstentions? We are adjourned at 7:10 PM. Thank you all.
And I just want to wish you a happy birthday, Mr. Mayor.
Yeah, belated
Oh,
happy
thank you,
birthday.
Mr. Kasimis.
Oh,
Yeah, I try to forget those birthdays now, but hey,
birthday.
but I'd rather have them than not have them, okay?
Yes.
Yeah.
All right, thank you.
Bye-bye, everyone.